Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, Vlad. Hey.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 18th of May. Let's start off with Vlad. Let's get an update on what's happening with k8s proxy.
Sorry, it was muted. Yeah, we made some great progress. Earlier this week, we decided to kind of shift direction a little bit. We were initially thinking of doing using network endpoint groups and grab those, so create those in Kubernetes and then grab those in Terraform and add them to a backend service and then feed them to a load balancer, which is, as I talk about it, sounds a little bit complicated. And I think that was the whole point, the complexity of it and the possible repercussions. So we decided to scrap that and go for a classic ingress that will go into the AWS DNS entry. I mean, we can just switch over from the old deployment, the VMs, to the Kubernetes deployment at the DNS level. And I think we have somewhere a comment about that. I was just looking for the schematic. I'll share my screen. Sorry. So this is the old approach, the one that we scrapped. It was called a standalone NEG, Network Endpoint Group. And we're going for the green one, the boring solution. So basically an ingress. The disadvantage of going with the green one is that we're not going to be able to do both VMs and pods at the same time. So the initial idea was we were thinking about the standalone NEG solution because that would allow us to load balance between VMs and pods. So we could run those in parallel for whatever time we needed. But the drawback was the complexity. So if we go for the green approach, boring solution, we'll just cut over from the old infrastructure to Kubernetes. That's kind of what I wanted to say about that. And we also have a demo. And I think Henry or Ahmad will need to help me with that because my access doesn't allow me to do all the things that we need.
Yeah, I can't show much, but I can show that we just applied a change to to deploy k8s proxy and Kubernetes there with an ingress, and we configured pre to use it for k8s proxy. It kind of works. The only thing, there's some small details which we still need to figure out, is that I think our content security policy still needs to be adjusted, because inside of an issue or something, pre will not show images because they're embedded in external URLs. But if we fix that, that should be visible. But we can click them and see them in a new tab, so you can see that k8s proxy actually is working, and I can show that maybe. Let me see where I have pre-tab open. Yeah, that should work. Okay, I share my screen. So what you can hopefully see, can you see it? I'm sure. Yeah, is I'm creating a new issue here, and what we do is, we link to an external image, which we want to do via k8s proxy just to prevent any kind of misuse and security issues. And if we go on preview, we normally should see it here, but I think it's still content security policy which prevents us to show it directly. But we can just open it, and this is pointing to the internal IP of KMO proxy and showing it fine. The way KMO proxy is working is that we generate a URL which is encrypted with some kind of secret so that it's not guessable, and this way we can point to external images via KMO proxy, which is then encrypted and so on. So this is working. What still needs to be done is setting up the Kubernetes change to actually create a certificate and use SSL for it. I know that Vlad just made it work in his proof of concept locally. So this is coming with a chart already. And so this is basically not much to finish here. And what Vlad just said before, for switching over, because we decided not to go the way with network endpoint groups and load balancing both at the same time, then switching over maybe, we will just switch this DNS entry over from this IP and the old load balancer to the new one for the ingress. That will be the switch over procedure that we will use, which should be fairly easy and hopefully fast enough. And if we see issues, we can just switch back. That's the idea, how we want to do it in staging and production. Yeah.
But we could test everything ahead of that
Yes.
switch over.
Yeah. I mean, we would test, of course, if it works as it is, and if it's forwarding and so on. We, of course, need to make somehow sure that the content security policy and everything is exactly working as it should. But it should, at least in staging and production, because we right now already use KMO proxy there, so we know it's working there. Right now, we only have an issue with pre, where we just added something new. So yeah, we will test it.
Are we trying to fix the CSP in pre before we move on to staging?
Yes, we need to figure out what the issue is. I guess it's CSP, but we configure CSP, so it should in theory work. I'm surprised it doesn't work. Maybe it's just because we don't use SSL right now, which is preventing it. We need to look into that one.
That could be. We're using the same CSP as before, so I don't see how that would make a difference because it's the same. But we need to investigate it a little bit more to figure out. And as Henry said, maybe it's also because it's we didn't add the certificate and stuff like that, so it's not HTTPS.
Yeah. Okay. When we migrate over, I haven't seen any merge requests associated with the new Kubernetes deployment of KMO proxy. I'm curious if we are running a horizontal pod autoscaler.
We do.
Do we have an idea as to how loaded we might be if KMO proxy all of a sudden receives 100% of that traffic after the DNS switchover occurs?
We don't have a clear idea yet, but there's an issue where we think we would use metrics to autoscale. That's also something that we consider. So we just need to feed those back to the horizontal pod scaler and make the autoscale based on the number of requests. We first need to find a baseline and then figure out the other.
Yeah, I mean, we see right now that we don't have too many requests to KMO proxy in production, so it's really not a lot of traffic. But we should adjust it so that we are able to scale if there's something coming in, or if we have a really big traffic spike or something.
The largest number that I've seen last week was 30 requests per second. Sorry. So it's not all that bad.
Oh, that's not very much at all. It seems like a very relatively small service then. Okay. Excellent. Off the wall question. Since we are building a Kubernetes deployment for this, I'm curious as if there's any interest in us providing a Helm chart for this. That way we could, with maybe like the 1 year away from this moment in time goal being we hand this over to distribution, and then distribution could include this as an optional component that end users, self-managed users could deploy KMO proxy as well. I know that's kind of out of scope, but I was just kind of curious since we're sitting here building the necessary deployment mechanism.
I think that was the main idea to go with a Helm chart, and right now we deploy it via GitLab Helm files. repository.
Mhm.
So it's sitting in there, and it's a chart which is built there locally, all done by Vlad.
Yep.
So it can be easily taken from there and then put over into GitLab charts.
I think this was a design direction as well. If I remember correctly, we
Nice.
were considering Tanka at some point, and then we decided to go this other route with a chart because of that reason.
That's fantastic. So maybe after we get all this all done, we could have an issue where we, at some point, roll this over into the distribution team. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
Alrighty. Any further questions before we move on?
Amy, I think, had a question.
No, just for no need to verbalize. I was just wondering if we had the right link. That's fine.
Sorry, for what? The right link for?
In the agenda, it looks
The
like we
current
linked to the
status
container
of-
registry migration instead of the camo proxy epic.
Okay. Because I had also posted the link and I was afraid that was it.
All right. Ahmad, let's talk about GitLab SSHD. Tell us about how today went. It sounded like it went well.
Yeah, it went awesome. So today we did a rollout to Canary with one, like setting the weights of HA proxy to 1. And luckily we didn't see the same error as we have seen in the last 4 attempts, or let's say 2 attempts, because the last 2 attempts had the context cancel error, something like that. Today, still, we had issues, like we had errors above the normal threshold, but I think there's an MR to adjust these because they are like 404 and expected errors, let's put it like that. So basically, the rollout was success, but we rolled back because of the error rate, because this is still alerting the AOCs. So we rolled back, and yeah, Igor opened the MR, and I think this is excluding the current errors we are seeing, basically. This for Canary, production Canary. So I think next rollout, maybe we will keep it, there's no plan yet, but I think we will keep it on, like accepting traffic for SHD for a while before going to production. As for staging, we also, me and Skarbek today merged the MRs from Hendrik, and we also had like an attempt to basically clone from staging, like a repository from staging, and it was success. So I think also for staging, the proxy is enabled on staging, and it's on source control, source code team to basically have further testing.
Okay, so going back to the production state, we're currently accepting 0% traffic on Canary for GitLab SSHD. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Can we, since we are now waiting on that, I guess that only that one merge request, can we go ahead and prepare the CR to roll it out yet again? And hopefully we're at a point where we could stay that way. And I think because we're getting to, I think we're increasing the confidence level. Perhaps we should create this change request where the ultimate end goal is that we sit at 5% traffic. And if all continues to be well, we've got a merge request in our chef repo that leaves that as a permanent change for Canary. Because then Canary should be on par with the rest of the configurations with the rest of our front-end workloads. And then the next CR will be rolling out to the rest of the main stage. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. For the staging changes, is group source code aware that they could go ahead, that they are unblocked and ready to proceed with testing at this point?
Yeah, we added the status to the issue and to Slack. I think Hendrik is also doing some tests right now. He will also post them after he finished. So I think they are aware.
Perfect.
Great work. Great progress on that this week.
Yeah. That was great to see no errors in the graph.
Akbar, do you have a kind of a sense as to when that merge request might get fully deployed in production? Like, is that something that might be able to be accomplished by the end of this week? So maybe we could roll out GitLab SSHD and Canary by the end of this week, potentially?
It's a long shot, but maybe on Friday. I'm not sure if this MR will make it maybe, but if it's merged today, then tomorrow it's deployed. Then yeah, on Friday we can have the CR. So finger crossed. That will happen.
Okay, so how about maybe communicate this? Let's get that CR ready and let's indicate that we're blocked on that merge request. Maybe that will provide the necessary visibility to help encourage getting it reviewed sooner potentially, and maybe helping encourage getting it deployed. I know delivery is having a rough time with deployments the past few days, but I think anything that at least gets that merged quicker will enable us to be unblocked faster, theoretically.
Sure.
Cool. Does anyone else have any more questions related to GitLab SSHD? Excellent. Well, we reached the end of our agenda. I have nothing else to talk about. Does anyone else have anything else to bring up? Okay. Well, with that, everyone have a lovely day. And
Thanks.
I'll see you all in other
Thank
meetings
you.
and such. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.